What if I told you that not every I miss you is an invitation worth answering? What if I told you that sometimes the most powerful act is not a grand gesture, but complete stillness? And what if I told you that reopening an old wound, just because someone feels a moment of nostalgia, can cost you far more than you realize? Today we're going to break this down. We'll talk about why a man who's already walked through fire doesn't step back into the flames simply because someone suddenly remembers the warmth. Why sometimes the strongest response isn't a clever reply, it's silence. And why protecting your peace is not coldness, it's wisdom. Let's begin. 1. She misses you doesn't mean she wants you back. We've all felt it. The buzz in your pocket, the familiar name lighting up your phone, and those 3 words, I miss you. Your heart stirs, memories flash, her smile, the late-night conversations, the inside jokes. But here's the reality check. Missing you is not the same as valuing you. Sometimes I miss you is just a flicker of loneliness at midnight. It's an emotional reflex, not a calculated decision. It's like craving fast food. You want the taste, but you don't want the commitment to healthier choices. People don't always miss you. Sometimes they miss the version of themselves they were when you were around. The way you made them feel safe, seen, and significant. They miss the attention, the warmth, the comfort. But that's not the same as wanting to rebuild something real. And here's the trap. You hear those words and think they mean change. But change isn't a feeling, it's a pattern. Feelings can spark overnight. Patterns are proven over time. That's why Stoicism teaches us to pause before reacting. Marcus Aurelius said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. If her words aren't grounded in truth backed by consistent action, then they're not a foundation you should build on. Silence becomes your filter. It gives her space to show if her actions match her nostalgia. 2. Don't undo the healing. You've been healing, quietly, patiently, steadily. You've been piecing yourself together like a craftsman restoring a priceless artifact, your own soul. Then out of nowhere, a message appears. I've been thinking about you. It's like a knock at the door of a house you've just finished rebuilding after a fire. Do you invite back in the person who once lit the match? A Stoic man understands. Nostalgia can be seductive, but it's not always a sign of growth. The same person who now misses you might still be carrying the same patterns that once wounded you. Epictetus reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Her missing you is an outside event. Her regret is hers to carry, not yours to fix. Your responsibility is to guard your mind and your peace. Reopening that wound is like peeling a scar to check if it's healed. You'll only end up bleeding again. Your scars aren't reminders of weakness. They're symbols of survival. 3. Feelings. Fade. Choices. Last today, she feels sentimental. Tomorrow, maybe nothing. That's the nature of emotion. It shifts like the wind. But your choices, those define you. You've chosen peace. You've chosen growth. You've chosen boundaries. You didn't set those standards for the moments when it was easy. You set them for moments like this, when it's tempting to abandon them. Missing you is not proof of readiness. Without change, I miss you is just emotional weather. It comes and goes. Think about it. Did she miss you when you were carrying the relationship on your back? When you were giving more than you got? When she was cold, distant, or distracted? A Stoic man looks at the pattern, not the moment. He doesn't let a flicker of nostalgia erase months of silence or disrespect. Your decisions now should be rooted in principle, not pressure. Because principles last, emotions don't. 4. Not all curiosity deserves closure. Curiosity is dangerous. The moment she resurfaces, you start wondering, has she changed? Does she really mean it? Could this be a second chance? But here's the truth. You don't need to touch fire twice to remember it burns. You don't need to open an old wound to confirm it hurt. Sometimes I miss you is not a confession. It's a test to see if she still has access to you. If you let curiosity lead, you risk trading months of peace for a few minutes of emotional sugar that leaves you emptier than before. Stoicism teaches that closure isn't something you get from another person. It's something you decide to have when you stop seeking answers and start living the truth. Before you respond, ask, am I looking for truth or for validation? Do I want her back, or do I just want to believe she finally sees my worth? If your peace depends on her words, it's not peace, it's dependence. 5. Honor your progress. Remember the man who refused to beg, who didn't chase, who rebuilt himself when it felt impossible. That man deserves your loyalty. I miss you might sound like an opportunity, but it can also be a temptation to betray yourself. Because going back often means undoing the work you've done. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. If her words shake you from your center, it's not her fault. It's your choice to let them. Ask yourself, does she miss me or the version of me who tolerated being undervalued? Protect your progress like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. 6. Has anything really changed? This is the question most men avoid. It's easy to feel flattered, to feel wanted, to believe her absence taught her your worth. But belief without evidence is just hope dressed up as fact. Has she taken responsibility? Has she acknowledged the pain? Has she shown a pattern of change, not just a moment of emotion? If the answer is no, then nothing has changed except the volume of her loneliness. You are not a placeholder for boredom. You are not the rebound for her regret. You are a man with standards, and standards aren't negotiable for nostalgia. 7. Her guilt isn't your job. Sometimes I miss you is less about you and more about her conscience. She wants to feel like she's a good person. She wants relief from the voice reminding her she hurt someone who didn't deserve it. But your purpose is not to be her emotional laundromat. Her guilt is hers to carry. Her discomfort is her teacher. Stoicism teaches us, do not interrupt the lessons life is teaching others. If she set fire to the bridge, your job isn't to rebuild it so she can cross back just to feel better. Your job is to keep walking forward toward a life where peace is the default, not the exception. Final thought. Let her miss you. Let her think. Let her wonder. But don't let her words pull you back into a fire you've already escaped. You're not cold for protecting your peace. You're not bitter for honoring your healing. You're wise for knowing that some doors once closed should stay closed, because a man who's walked through fire doesn't step back into the flames just because someone remembers the warmth.